Previously on The Scars of Youth.
Behind some of those doors, there are people who don't knock with kindness. Amanda Todd opened one of those doors. At first, it didn't look dangerous. It looked fun. It looked safe. She was just a girl. The bell rings. That sharp metallic sound slicing through chatter. The kind that always meant another day of possibility. But for Amanda, it no longer meant that. She clutched her books tighter, her hoodie pulled up just enough to hide her eyes. As she walked down the hall, whispers followed. They weren't loud. They didn't have to be. It is strange, isn't it? How a whisper can feel heavier than a shout. A few weeks ago, this same hallway was a safe space. Imagine. Friends waiting by the lockers, planning weekend sleepovers, laughing over music videos and favorite outfits. Now, it was different. Now, even laughter sounded cruel. She could feel the eyes tracing her steps. Not with curiosity, but with judgment. The screens that once gave her validation had now turned into her judge and jury. Her secret, what she thought was private, was now public, was now a public property. You see, in one maths class, she tried to focus on the board, but numbers blurred. Her pencil trembled slightly. A message pinged on her phone under the desk. She shouldn't have checked the phone, but she did. It was another screenshot, another cruel comment. Her face, her pain, turned into a joke. She swallowed hard. That's what happens when you can't cry anymore. You just keep swallowing the heart. Later that day, Amanda sat down alone on the bus. The same window seat that she used to love, where she'd daydream and write lyrics on her notebook. Now, she pressed hard her forehead against the cold glass, watching raindrops chase each other down the window. Her reflection stared back, tired, pale, almost unrecognizable. It's wild how quickly the internet moves. Yesterday's trend is today's ghost. But when you're the subject, when you're the joke, it doesn't fade for you. It doesn't. You live inside that moment again and again. So, Amanda got home and went straight into her room. She closed the door softly. She sat at her desk, opened her laptop, hoping maybe, just maybe, there will be a message from someone kind. There was. Indeed, there was. A girl from another school had written, and I quote, "I saw what happened. I'm so sorry, and you don't deserve that." Amanda smiled for a second. A real smile. This is a real one. It is strange how even a stranger's empathy can feel like light through the dark. But then another notification appeared. A thread, cruel words, edited photos, strangers piling on. That smile immediately faded. She turned off the screen, sat in silence. That silence where the world feels too loud and you feel too small. It is easy to think cyberbullying lives only online. It is very easy. But the truth is, it walks with you. It follows you to school, to the bus, to bed. Everywhere you go, it will follow you. You start believing that what they say about you, that maybe you did something wrong, that maybe you deserve it. And that's the real voice of violence. That is the real cruelty. That is the real violence. Not just the words, but how they make you turn against yourself. Amanda wasn't the only one. In Nairobi, in Kisumu, in New York, every school has an Amanda. A teenager whose story got twisted into entertainment. A boy who shared something in trust and now can't face his friends. A girl who wakes up to her own name trending for the wrong reason. I remember a message we once got from a young listener in Mombasa. She said, "Sometimes I wish I could delete myself like a post, just disappear quietly." That line broke me, because that's exactly what the digital world teaches us, that people can be disposable. Back in Amanda's world, the school days blurred together. She tried sitting with different groups at lunch or any other gathering, but conversation stopped once she arrived. Her old friends avoided her eyes, not because they didn't care, but because they didn't know what to do. Because they didn't know how to. I bet if you're in her shoes, or in the shoes of her friends, you could have done probably the same. That's what fear does. It silences even the kind ones. At home, her mom Carol noticed the change. The half-eaten dinner, the locked door. But parents can't miss the signs. Not out of neglect, but of hope. They can't, but some can. You want to believe your child is okay. You want to believe it's just a phrase or a phase in life. We forget that silence can be violent too. Every time we scroll someone's past, every time we scroll past someone's humiliation, every time we laugh at a meme that's someone's pain, we choose a side. And that's the truth no one wants to face. Because bullying isn't just about the bully and the victim. It's about the crowd. The ones who see but don't speak. The ones who share but don't care. Amanda's story could have changed sooner if just one person had said, "Hey, I'm here." Just one person. But was there? Was there? No, there wasn't. As days grew older and colder, she started wearing the hoodie everywhere. It was more than a clothing, it was an armor now. At school, in town, even at home, the hoodie was a shield. She stopped singing, drawing, her light dimmed, not because it burnt out, but because the world around her stopped seeing it. But even in her silence, she was fighting, trying to survive each day in a world that already had judged her enough. And that's where we find her. We find her standing on the edge of something. None of us could see this coming. The part of a story that will soon shake the whole world awake. When trust becomes trauma and laughter becomes weaponized, a young girl's only wish is to be unseen. That was Amanda. But what happens when the pain you're running from lives inside the screen? What happens? There we go next. To the night, Amanda picked up her pen and paper and decided that if no one could listen to her voice, she let her silence speak instead. The morning light cut through the thin curtains, soft, golden, the kind of light that makes everything look new again. Cardboard, boxes, they were all stacked up near the door. The smell of tape, markers, and fresh beginnings. Carol walked around the small living room, her arms folded, glancing at her daughter's old posters now, rolled in a corner in the house. Amanda's cat weaved between their legs, mewing as if it too felt the confusion of living. They were moving to a new house, to a new neighborhood, and also to a new school. Carol told Amanda, "It's a chance to start over." Amanda smiled faintly. That polite kind of smile we give when we don't believe someone, you know. For a while, that hope felt real. For a while. The drive to their new home, was quiet but filled with unspoken promises. A different city meant different kids, different teachers, and different gossip. Maybe the past will stay behind, buried under the old house, sealed in those cardboards and boxes. The first morning at a new school was calm. Amanda stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her uniform. The air smelled like toasts and laundry soap. Her hair fell neatly to her shoulders. For a second, she looked like any other teenager, nervous but ready. As she waited for the bus, she put in her earbuds. Music, her only escape. Something upbeat, something that reminded her of the version of herself that wasn't afraid. The song whispered through her headphones, "It's a new day, it's a new dawn." And she wanted to believe it, as anybody would desire. The school looked big, open, filled with faces she didn't know. And that was the beauty of it all. No one knew her story. No one whispered her name. For the first week, she felt light again. She made a friend in English class, a girl named Gina, who complimented her doodles. They started sitting together, having lunch together. They talked about favorite movies, weekend plans, little things that made life seem ordinary. For the first time in months, Amanda laughed, really laughed. And even her mom noticed when she came home. Carol said that week was the first time Amanda hummed again while doing her homework. The house started to sound like home again. But hope sometimes is fragile. It crumbled under the weight of memory. One Friday afternoon, Amanda opened her locker to find a folded note. Inside, a message written in sharp ink. It was saying, "We know who you are." Her stomach dropped. Her hands trembled slightly as she tucked the note into her pocket. At lunch, she caught glances, the kind she recognized too well. By the time she got home, her phone had lit up again. Old photos, comments, and screenshots. The past, had found her again. That's the thing about the internet. It doesn't let you move on. It remembers everything, even the things you've tried to bury. You can pack your boxes, change your number, delete your account. But the digital ghosts still whisper your name, even in new places. Amanda stopped going out as much. Her hoodie came back. So did the long silence at dinner. She told her mom she was tired, just tired. Carol suggested therapy. She said maybe talking could help. Amanda nodded, said maybe later. But later? Later didn't come. That month, Amanda started journaling again. Her notebook was her quietest friend. She'd write, Maybe it's me. Maybe I deserve it. And then on the next page, she would write, no, no one deserves this. She was caught between guilt and clarity, between wanting to disappear and wanting to be seen for who she truly was. Sometimes she'd walk down through to the park near the new house. There was a small bench by the water. She'll sit there with her headphones, sketching like small things, hearts, waves, stars, little pieces of peace, One afternoon, she stayed until sunset. The sky turned deep orange, and that feels both beautiful and as well lonely. She took a photo of it. It was never posted. It stayed in her phone's gallery. That one image, that one image of the untouched pain. There is something universal about that feeling. You see, trying to start again, carrying old things like old wounds into new rooms. Every youth who has been through trauma might relate. You walk into a new chapter, but your scars still appear. They whisper the old story. I've seen it here too. Young people who move to schools after rumors, or who switch accounts after leaked photos or videos, who think a new city, or rather they think that a new city will erase, or a new school will erase the pain. That's what most youths think. But healing isn't about running, It's about being seen differently. By yourself first. Not by others. By yourself first. Amanda didn't get that chance soon enough. Her world had become a loop. Trying, hoping, breaking, repeating, all that. Still, she held on longer than people think. Carol remembers her daughter's courage. How she'll still help clean, still smile for family pictures, still hug, say good nights. Because youth isn't just pain, it's resistance. Even when they are drawing or drowning, they are still swimming somehow. And that's what makes her story so heartbreaking. Because Amanda really tried. Honestly, she really tried to live. We'll talk so much about mistakes, reputations, punishment, but not enough about recovery. About how to rebuild trust in a world that doesn't forget. The internet can destroy, but it can also heal. That's if we've learned to use it like a mirror instead of a weapon. A week before her last video, Amanda told her mom she wanted to volunteer with kids at her new school, help others who are going through the same hard times. She said, I don't want anyone else to feel like me. That sentence would echo later in Carol's heart, a sentence that became a movement. But that night, Amanda sat in her room, staring at a blank notebook. She turned on her desk, took a deep breath, and began to write words that weren't lyrics this time. They were confession, truths, her attempt to be understood before she was forgotten. And that's how it begins. The moment before a story becomes a message. The night before the whole world sees you not as a scandal, but as a soul crying out hard to be heard. She didn't know it yet, but the paper cuts she was about to write will change everything. They will turn her pain into a mirror for millions of youths who had no words of their own. Amanda wanted a new beginning. What she got instead was a legacy, one she never planned to leave behind. And that's a tragedy, isn't it? That's something. The stories that change the world are written in the language of pain. Yes. Sometimes, I repeat, sometimes the stories that change the world are the ones written in the language of pain. Thank you so much. This was chapter 2 of Amanda's stories. This was chapter 2 of Amanda's story. This was Scars of Youth by Makena Brandon. Thank you. Till next time, goodbye.